everybody. I'm Marianne Hudson with the Alabama Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries Division, and we are out here on this lovely Alabama day on some lovely public land in our state. We've got a lot to talk about today, and we're going to talk about public land hunting with who better than some hunters. And these aren't just any hunters. We appreciate all of our hunters, but we're excited today to be talking to Aaron and Ted from the Hunting Public. Now, these guys are really public land hunting ambassadors. They really are champions for folks that like to get out there and explore public land and use it for what it is intended for. And you guys do just that. Tell me about the Hunting Public.
Well, we started back in 2017.
Yep.
Fall of 2017, and with kind of the mission in mind, just to go out, group of friends, and show people how much fun you can have chasing deer and turkeys and everything else on public land.
Okay, so you guys are not from Alabama. Where'd you come here from today?
We're both from Iowa.
Iowa.
I'm originally from Missouri, but
Okay.
we both live in Iowa.
So you travel all around to all different states.
Yep.
And have you been to Alabama before this trip?
Yep, we have.
A couple times.
Okay.
We've been here 2 turkey seasons ago, and then
Yep. Turkey
every
hunted
turkey
last
season
spring.
since.
We deer hunted down here in 2018, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we come down here a lot. We're
So-
down in the southeast a bunch.
So you came all the way from Iowa to hunt here in Alabama, but you've been to other states on this little trip as well. Where else have you been?
We were in Florida before
Yeah.
this. He's been in Florida for a while.
Started in South Florida, North Florida, and now Alabama.
Okay. So have you been out hunting yet, or did you you got here yesterday, or?
No, we've been out. We just
Okay.
got back about 20 minutes ago.
Okay, and you
So-
took advantage of some of our wildlife management area properties.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, now tell me about what you saw. Tell me about the habitat you saw and what you guys did so far.
Well, first of all, we've hunted on, 3 WMAs already?
Yep.
And we've been here for a couple of days. And the habitat we've seen has been really, really good. We've commented about that amongst our group multiple times. Like, you guys have done a lot of work out here, and it shows. There's lots of burn areas, there's food plots, there's roads that are closed in a lot of areas. There's roads that are open for access. I mean, there's really wide amount of diversity on these places.
Okay.
And we've seen some turkeys, and we've heard some turkeys.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to
I haven't killed a turkey
Okay,
yet,
so
but
you haven't made a connection yet, but you have liked what you've seen.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, we like to hear that. So tell me a little bit about how you got started in this. I understand what it is that you guys do, but what kind of homework do you put in? What kind of basically legwork do you have to put in before you come to a new state like this? Because this is important information for hunters who may want to do exactly what you guys are doing. There's so many opportunities out there. What advice do you have for someone who really just doesn't know how to get started?
Well, several months before we came down here, what I was doing was looking online at the multiple different public areas in the state and trying to put ourselves in a situation where we have as many options as possible. We're traveling to hunt here. We've never been here before, so you can only do so much online research. I mean, we're Googling these areas. We're finding phone numbers for local biologists and contacting them if possible to ask them about the turkey population in the area, even the hunting pressure on the area, see what that's like. And then, since we're coming to a new area where we've never been, we like to have as many options as possible where we can sort of bounce around and really experience different habitats within a couple hours of where we're camped.
Yeah. Right when we got here, even we started at another WMA, and then we drove probably 40 minutes to get to this WMA and National Forest. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you come, do you hit the ground running, or do you put in do you scout first, or you just hit the ground running, you're ready to roll as soon as you arrive?
Well, it kind of depends. If we're able to come a couple of days before season as non-residents, that would be ideal, because then we could get out there and do some scouting before all the hunters show up. In this instance, we got here a few days after, so we immediately jumped in to hunt. But what we like to do is cover a lot of ground, especially when it comes to turkey hunting. And we have a lot of ground to work with here. That's one reason why, back to my point a minute ago, why we picked this general area. So we've bounced around. We've hunted, 10, 11 spots already?
Yeah.
And we've listened for turkeys and heard turkeys in several of those. So we now have multiple locations marked where we know there's birds. We have other locations marked where we know there's hunters and where we didn't hear turkeys. So as the week builds on, every single day we are learning a little bit more, step by step. We're just kind of chipping away at that process until we get a bird that's kind of to ourselves that we can do something with.
Okay, so you've been here hunting our management areas before for both deer and turkey. And basically, before both of those, you did the same type of research remotely from Iowa to decide what your game plan was going to be when you got here, correct?
Yep, that's right.
All right. And when it comes to finding a place to camp, a place to stay, that's all the type of stuff that you guys do ahead of time. You just try to, I guess, stay flexible in your schedule, but have a plan.
Right. Yeah.
The first couple days is usually spent in the truck, just driving around, confirming what we've researched and what we've looked at on the map, stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Sometimes when you're looking at just an aerial photo, when you're not looking at any more details on a map and you're just looking at an aerial photo, some of those roads that you're looking at may be impassable, or they may be closed. They may be dirt roads, not gravel roads, and you may need a 4-wheel drive truck to get down. You don't know all that stuff until you get here. So to Ted's point, that's what we're doing, is driving around and learning all that as quickly as we can.
And that's another reason, I guess, why you guys said you like to have options and be able to bounce around when you get to a spot and see how things are happening when you get there and where you want to stay and where you want to move on from.
And the app has been super helpful.
Oh, I'm glad to hear you say that.
We have looked at on there, all the WMAs are listed, so we can click on there and we can get the WMA maps that show the roads, the road systems on the map. And a lot of those road systems will show you whether or not those are seasonally closed roads, whether they're open all year round, and we're looking at all that information. That's one of the things, like I said, that you can't just get from a generic aerial photo. So we're constantly looking at either the paper maps that we pick up at the little kiosk or whatever on the edge of these WMAs, or we're looking at it with the app on the phone.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you mention the app.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't already have the Outdoor Alabama app on your smartphone, please download it and make sure that you have the most recent update, because it seems to be working fairly well for you guys. And you can actually check in and out of a wildlife management area using the app. And if you do that, you don't need the paper map permit. Did you guys do that? Did you check in and out?
We have been doing that.
It's been real handy.
Excellent. So you can check in and out on the app. And then, of course, and I hope you guys are able to get a turkey, you can also game check it on the app.
Yep.
So you can do that quick and easy too. So good. I'm glad the app is working well for you guys. Now, when it comes to looking at those maps on either the paper map permit or on the app, you guys do that before you come? I want to ask you more about what you would suggest for an Alabama hunter who has never experienced our wildlife management areas or hunted our public land. So you guys obviously do this a lot. So you have more of a game plan in your head about how you approach these things. For someone who has never done this before, what are the basics that they need to make sure they do before they step foot on that property to have the maximum percentage of success?
I would say to start out with all of those maps.
Okay.
That's a big key, because you don't want to forget one. You know, when you go into an area, a lot of these places, don't have service or anything. So if you get it, download it to your phone, take a snapshot of it, whatever, that way that you have everything there. But when it comes to picking the specific area within the map that we end up hunting, we're always trying to think about where other people are at and how they're going to use the area. So if we are looking at a map and there's a main parking lot or a trailhead or something on there with paths that shoot off of it that you can drive down, and we're going to assume that that's going to get a lot of hunting pressure. And then we double check all these things once we get here. But those are areas that we typically stay away from. And we'll look for other portions of the public land, little back corners, or,
spots where you got to cross water, stuff like that. Hard to access.
And then when we get here, we'll drive around and we'll use those maps and we'll mark where we're seeing other hunters, and we'll mark where we're seeing boot tracks in the mud. Just to kind of get an inventory on what's going on. And anytime we see other hunters, like yesterday morning, we talked to a real nice guy from Virginia who was down here, and we actually were hearing multiple birds in that area. We talked to him about what we were hearing. He told us what he was hearing, and we came, to a conclusion that you can go that way, we're going to go this way. That's something that we do all the time, and I think a lot of people should take that advice and use it, because that keeps you from ending up way back on a public area and stepping on somebody else's toes. If you talk to everybody that you see out there that you can almost work together a little bit to.
Hopefully, we won't end up in a situation like we did this morning.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody on private land shot the turkey. That we were on a turkey, and he was actually coming through the public land, and we were almost up there in the spot that we needed to set up, and he crossed over the fence, and somebody shot him on private land. So
oh my goodness!
at least we think that they shot him. Hopefully, they got him.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
But
I mean, that sounds like it was still a good hunt, though. You were hearing birds,
Yeah.
and basically everything that you had planned out was, shaping into fruition as far as what you had hoped, other than obviously getting the turkey in the bag.
Yeah, we found a spot where the road was walking traffic only, the little path that led in off the road, and we took that back in there about 3/4 of a mile. There was a little creek drainage back there, and if you're hunting turkey specifically, turkeys love water. Creeks, rivers, lakes, ponds, anything like that. And there was a bird in there. He started gobbling at about 6:40.
Okay, so it started gobbling about 6:40. What time do you guys usually get out there? What time do you like to get out there? And what would you suggest for a new hunter who's never done this before on public land? The early bird gets the turkey, or what?
Usually,
as long as we don't oversleep.
a lot of times we'll get up extra early and get to a spot. So if somebody does come to that spot, we're there first.
Yep, and if somebody beats us there, then we leave the spot and go somewhere else. No, and that was, I guess, back to the situation yesterday morning when we talked to that gentleman from Virginia. We pulled into the spot. He pulled up there next to us, and it got there just right after we did. And he's like, I've been hearing birds gobbling right down in here somewhere. And I said, yes, there's one over here and there's one over here. We're going to go after this one if that's cool. And he's like, yeah, that sounds good. I said, this one is right over here. This is where we've been hearing him. He's like, I'm going to go after that one. All right, go get him.
Well, everything you guys have said has been really encouraging to someone who's listening to this who has never tried it before. You guys make it sound doable. You make it sound doable. It makes it sound like just a little bit of legwork, a little bit of groundwork, and you can make it happen on public land. So many people are afraid to get out there and try public land, but we've got so many opportunities and so much property, and our wildlife management areas have some birds on them, as you know. And so we're really glad you guys are here, and we're glad that you guys are out there getting after it. And for everyone else who's listening to this, who's been afraid to try public land opportunities, these guys are making it happen all the way from Iowa, and you guys can make it happen too. So visit outdooralabama.com to learn more about our public land hunting opportunities, and come out here and get it done, right guys?
That's right.
Absolutely.